Tom Wilson, and I am the CEO of CodeCamp, I guess, now. I run a dev shop called Jack Russell Software here in Charleston, and work with the Ruby Group and Charleston Digital Corridor, CodeCamp. Really passionate about the community. I guess what someone may not know is I have 3 Jack Russells. Well, you may have figured that out. Another thing is we often take and book appointments for Jack Russell at our office. Right? People call in all the time asking for Jack. Then they figure out. But here I'm going to talk about Superman and Batman. Right? Does that sound good? Actually, just a little bit of a take on that to make it interesting. But Rails and Node.js. So I'm going to try to go through, and Rails you could spend years on. So I'm going to go through a quick, small bit of Rails, and then go into some demos, and then a little bit of Node.js. How many people have used Rails? Okay. How many people have used Node.js? Okay, great. Well, I'm going to give you a really short snapshot of Rails, and I won't go into too many different details, but Rails is Superman. And what is Superman known for? Superpowers. He can fly. He's got super strength lasers. I know we could add the list on and on and on. But Rails, what it was really known for and brought in 2004 was doing something a little different than some of the web development that was going on before that. And so Rails sort of has some superpowers of its own. One's convention over configuration, dry, and MVC. And these superpowers enable developers to be super, right? To really get things done. So with that concept, I've heard some people talk about Maven and XML and configuration files. Well, in 2004, that was all the web, was so many configuration files. And Rails came on and said, hey, how about if you name a table, a people, and then you name a class a person, then maybe the computer can figure out that person should go into the people table, right? Instead of having an XML configuration file map that, right? It just seems more conventional to use things. Now, having said that, that makes a lot of sense, but it can also create a lot of confusion, right? Because it gives this impression of magic happening behind the scenes, and you make a typo and misspell your table peoples, right? Then it doesn't know how to connect. So, but it's a really, really good concept, and once you really dig in and understand it, again, you can move very fast. Dry, the same principle is, again, focused on do not have the same byte or bits of code in different places, right? So have it in one place, so if you change it, it affects everywhere. And Rails really embraced that with Ruby and object-oriented programming, which is bad now. Functional is good. but I think the dry principle still holds there. And then the MVC, Model View Controller, which was not original with Rails, but Rails was one of the first ones to really bring it into the web platform, bring it into the UI. And now, Rails is easy to install, even on Windows. So railsinstaller.org takes care of what used to be an absolute nightmare for installing Rails. That was probably one of the biggest pain points the last 7 years, is just getting it installed. You get it, even if you get a new Mac, even as recent as a year ago, you got a new Mac and you loaded Xcode on it, and then you just totally trash your Ruby. So now it's getting better. The other thing is just to really give you a short taste of how quick it is to build the hello world of Rails. And every language, every framework has a hello world. When Rails came on the scene, it wasn't this easy. And oftentimes you would never do this, but it's fun for demos. So we're going to go ahead and try to build a Rails app and launch it right here. And really, the top 5 commands really generate that, and then here we're just replacing and adding a route to post index so that when we go up, it'll default to the controller, and then Rails S starts it. So we're going to try to spin this up and see if it works. See. Okay. All right, let's see. See if it works. So it has to hit the internet, and if the internet's down, it's going to be a very short demo, but hopefully it's working. And one of the concepts with Rails is, with this, is it is building a lot of code for you. So it's writing a lot of code, a lot of files, and it's breaking. Right? So let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Okay. But again, just to connect to a database, create a model, have some attributes on it, and to create a scaffold of data was fairly painless. And we can go into localhost 3000. We should have our application up. We should have a list, a new post, food, bar, create the post, edit, update, go back, go to the list, hit new, and we got a full app, right? And it's saving to a SQLite database. And you know, for that many lines of code, that's really cool. It was really, really cool in 2004. Now it's no big deal. You have AngularJS, you got Backbone, you got everything that you just blink and you got an app, right? You know, so it's kind of not as great as that. But the key thing is with this, I think the really awesome piece is that rapid iteration development loop, right? So you can be working with a designer. You know, this isn't a fancy design, but you can be working with a designer. You can be working with some developers. You can be working with the product owner, real time in the room, and start to build and iterate. So with this power, you can really put together thought, and you really remove a lot of the pain points of communication, because you can make a change, post it, and then your product owner can see it, and your designer can see it, and make changes back and forth, and you really create this collaborative effort to put something together. So having that speed and having those tools are very Superman-ish, right? You know, it does. It's not all that easy, and it does take some time to really get in. And then once you get in, you really have to be a curator of your code base, because this ease can very quickly create a maintenance nightmare, right? That over time you wish, why did I write that code? Why did I write this code? But having that launching board and having the power to very quickly put applications together is pretty cool. And that's what I like to think of it as, is just basically get things done. So you can really think of Rails as far as getting into it. And you know, you may want to think, oftentimes a lot of .NET shops, a lot of Java shops go ahead and build a prototype in Rails and do their spike in Rails and say, let me get all my user requirements, all my things that users can't. You know, how many times have you heard the user, you know, I know what I want in my head, but I really can't tell you what it is until I see it, right? So then you're like, okay, so I'm supposed to build you a house, and then you're going to walk in and tell me if you like it or not. And then if you don't, I have to tear that house down and then you're going to walk in, I'm going to build another house, and then you're going to walk in and tell me. And so, and it's not anything bad against users, but it's just, that's humans. Humans see things, and then they get more ideas, and it gets closer to what they want. So that's a very natural process. That's why we have Agile. That's why we have all this. It's all trying to move back to how we work and how we do things. And Rails is a great piece for that. So let me just go into Node.js and Batman. So what's Batman known for? His toys. Good answer. So Node.js, in my mind, and you know, again, there's a lot of things out there, but to me, it's that glue. It's a networking framework that allows you to glue in software-oriented architecture quickly large moving parts or small moving parts. And Node really focuses on three sort of patterns, and those patterns are callbacks. Has anyone experienced callback hell in JavaScript?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, now there's a site. So if you're experiencing callback hell, you can go to callbackhell.com, and it'll show you how to rid yourself of that. But callbacks are good, even though you may hate them. And the reason I say that is because it naturally forces you to write asynchronous code. And then you explicitly know that's asynchronous code. And the uglier it gets really ugly quick. So it gives you an indicator to say, hey, if I'm doing this, then something's wrong, and it makes you feel bad. So you want to change that for the better. So you know, callbacks and the days of concurrency, and you know, it's moving to where you're going to need to handle multiple things at the same time. So that's the world we're moving to. The days of the single process at a time is really sort of going away, and this need, you know, the average person walks around with at least 2 or 3 mobile devices, right? So everybody's multitasking. Well, our software is a reflection of our life, and it needs to do that. So the nice thing is and for me, honestly, it's going to take me years to learn Clojure. Clojure looks awesome, and I totally understand it from the conceptual level, but man, that's a lot of things to think about, and I want to get there. But JavaScript, I've been working with. I understand JavaScript, and I can do almost similar functional patterns in JavaScript, so I can get started and get things done again. Event emitter. Event emitter is a big pattern in Node. It's a big pattern in JavaScript, and it is too damn awesome. It is pub sub, and it is putting things in perspective of, and I think Ben talked about it, but you know, you basically have publishers and subscribers. Messages are published, and you have multiple subscribers that subscribe, and using that and being a core pattern in Node just makes things really work well. And then the last pattern is streams. And I'm not going to talk too much about streams, but this is going to be the largest pattern in Node, and it's basically turning Node into a Unix principle framework. And if you're familiar with Unix principles, it's all about one application doing one thing, and then having multiple applications that do one thing, and then combining them together or piping them together. So if you're in a Unix command prompt, right? Let's go ahead and let's say you want to list the directory, but then list and pipe grep db. Then what I've done is taking 2 applications, the list application and the grep application, and they don't know anything about each other, right? They just do one thing and they do it well, and then I've combined them. So I said take list and take all the results from list, from standard out, and pipe that into grep. And then grep is global search and replace, so it searches and finds DB. So Node's taken that concept into this concept of streams and building and re-engineering applications that do one thing and being able to pipe them. So imagine a file system and a web response and request system, right? They're streams. So why can't you pipe a request straight down to a file? And why can't you pipe a file straight out to a response? And then let's say, what if you want to do things in the middle, right? Change things, augment things, everything can happen through streams. So I'm going to try to demo a little bit of event emitter, and maybe next time can talk more about streams. I created this little app called T-Stream, and what it is going to connect to the Twitter Stream API, pull a stream for looking for a tag super SHDD, super happy dev day, and then it's going to just pop it out into the console. So real quick, and this is really all the code you need in Node to do that. There's a module for in Twitter, a config file that holds all your keys, and then you just say T-stream, your status is filter, track SHDD, and then on that function, as the stream comes in, just log that out to the console. So let me give that a shot. And if you got your phones handy or whatever, you may want to tweak something about SHDD. And maybe we'll catch it. Let's see. So it's listening now. So if someone can do a tweak, maybe we'll have some success. It was working last night. Hey! Go Dogs! So that's pretty cool, but it's just going to my console. So what we can do is up the game a little bit, and we can take this and let's pipe it into CouchDB, right? So let's go ahead, and I've got a little couch server set up, and we'll do is basically take that same concept, but instead of type into the console, we're just going to do a request post and push that JSON into the CouchDB called tweets. So we'll go ahead and fire that up. And Couch is still running, open. And we've got tweets. So right now, all of those guys are getting loaded in the Couch, and it's sort of hard to prove it with this admin interface, but things are going in. And so we're going to take it another step and try to pipe from Couch, because Couch is not another HTTP handler, so we're going to try to essentially follow Couch and then pipe that back to a Node server, and then pipe that out to a browser, so that just like we saw in the console, we should see some tweets come in. And here we're using some technologies called Socket.io for the browser, and we're using a CouchDB driver Nano that's got a follow command that will essentially basically listen to the tweets database, and with Couch it can fire events when data gets added, and it's going to follow that, and when something happens, it's going to emit an event to the browser to say, display this tweet, right? So everybody sort of follow that? Kind of crazy, huh? Let's see if it works. Okay. If someone wants to try to start tweeting again, maybe we'll have some success here.
I've never actually tweeted before, so I'm about to send my first one.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Yeah! Does that make me cool?
Yeah. So anyway, this silly demo can demonstrate how powerful this little glue language is, right? So very small bit of lines of code, but you can connect very complex things and allow them to communicate. So very, very cool. Let me change gears before that gets too. I was waiting for an Emacs rules. I'm waiting.
I love it. You're waiting for what?
An Emacs rules.
I didn't want to start that fight.
So that was my presentation on Node and Rails, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions on that. And before I break, I'm going to roll in and talk a little bit about CodeCamp. What's my time? Doing good?
You're CEO, man.
So Rails and Node are just awesome, and all these technologies are awesome. And again, I can't thank all the speakers that came out here today, and thank the staff of the Digital Corridor, and thank Taylor. I mean, this has been great, and thank our video team and just everything. So again, let's just give them a round of applause. And my last infomercial is going to be on a new venture we started. Well, it's not a venture, it's a community. Emerging technologies platform. Basically, back in April, met with Ernest and Joe and some other guys, and we said we really want to try to put together a place where people can learn these emerging technologies, because sure, you can get to these online and you can go and buy books and you can go and do that, but that is a lot of work and that's a lot of time, and everybody is super busy. So we felt like there was also some value of having professionals come in and actually do the classes and try to help really get immersed into emerging technologies. And so we launched Charleston Codes, or CodeCamp. In the first version, we did 3-month courses. We did Rails, jQuery, Web Basics, and iOS. And we found out a lot of stuff. We had 50 students come out, and it was really great. And we refactored and are launching version 2. And version 2, I think classes start in 2 weeks. And we're offering 7 classes. We're offering Rails, jQuery, website basics, cloud server management, if you're in the infrastructure, and PHP, and Node, and Closure. So all of these are all led by instructors in the community, and it's a very purposeful format that is 14 seats in this lab, so everybody gets a Big Mac, and you get 4 sessions, an hour and so for a lecture and an hour and a half for a lab, and really will help you dive into any of these technologies that you're interested in. Some people were like, well, I know I can go and buy a book on it, but I really wanted to have someone I could ask questions to, or I wanted to have someone that I can talk with or grow with. Really, I'm really personally excited about this. It's something that I wish when I finished school had, because it seems like the bridge between, or the gap between finishing school and getting into the business world is just a learning curve that's quite frankly huge. and having something like this to help facilitate that, I think, is a big thing. Or just changing or trying to refine where you currently work and adding new ideas or new concepts. So anyway, this is Code Camp, charlestoncodes.com, and you can go in and order tickets. You can find out all about the course, find out about the instructors, and if you're interested in teaching some of these courses, would also love to talk to you as well. We're trying to really try to broaden the whole Charleston community and just level up our technical skills, which we've already got. Everybody's got great technical skills. We just want to create a community place where we can just continue to grow and learn. And that's about it.
Yeah. Great, thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
So, coming up next is the exciting second panel discussion on the back-end technologies. Let's everybody just stretch our legs real quick, and we'll get our panelists seated, and we will finish up for the day. Thank you.